So good day. We will tackle about all about volleyball. So our first topic is about definition of volleyball. Volleyball is a popular sport game wherein you and your team should have great teamwork, coordination, speed, and your reflexes must easy to react to be able to catch and hit the ball aimingly back at the opponent. It is played by six players both sides wherein they have to bat the ball back and forth using their hands over the net which is above their height. Their aim was to score from the opponent by not making the ball touch the floor when you are about to receive, serve, and pass it to the opponent. Every team is allowed to have three touches only before it is returned over the net. This game can be played either of your preference or available space, like indoor, outdoor, or in beaches where you can play with other people or with your family to relax. Our next topic is all about history of volleyball. This sport was created in 1895 by William G. Morgan with an old name Mintonet. He is an instructor and director at the YMCA in Holyoke, Massachusetts. While playing, he thinks that basketball, tennis, baseball, and handball needed equipments beside the ball. So in the end, he decided to just mix them all, but the only equipment needed is the ball. In order to play with the opposite side, the net is raised 6 feet by 6 inches above the floor. When playing one time, someone said to Morgan that the players are passing the ball was volleying back and forth. That is why they came up with the name used until now, which is the volleyball. At first, they tried the ball of the basketball, but it is too heavy until 1900s came and there is a ball invented that is lighter in weight than the ball of the basketball. The Philippines contributed in this sport by introducing the spike and the offensive setting in 1916. The next year, the scoring was changed from 21 to 15 and the 3 hit per team rule was made in 1913, and it is played by many for relaxing and recreation mostly in Eastern Europe. In 1947, the Federación Internacional de Voleibol is the international governing body was created that is located at Lausanne, Switzerland. Here in the Philippines, the governing body is the Philippine National Volleyball Federation, Inc. The volleyball made its debut in Tokyo in 1964, that the men's championship won along with the host nation in women's category. Along the way, another new level was created in way back 1930 in California, but only in 1996 this variety was approved and included to the game, which is the beach volleyball. In the last 2 decades, there are many competitions made like FIVB World Championships, FIVB Grand Champions Cup, and the very old competition in the world which is the Olympics. Up until now, it is loved and played by many people in the world. The width of the court is 9 meters long and 18 meters in length. The net raise is 2.43 meters for men's and 2.24 meters for women. There must be 3 meters attack lines parallel to the net or front, and for the back row it must be 6 meters in length. The net is 11 meters in length and there is 10 feet in the net dividing equally both sides, that is called the free zone. The service area must be 3 meters away at the right side of the back line and at the end of the court. This is the antenna, which means it is inside, which indicates inside. And this is the antenna that is out of bounds. Next is the ball. The circumference must be 65 to 67 centimeter, while the weight must be 8.15 to 8.39 diameter, but sometimes they weigh about 9 to 10 ounces. So our next topic is all about the two kinds of volleyball. First is the team volleyball. As I have said, this type of volleyball is played by six players both sides and can be played either indoor or outdoor following the rules except when you are just playing for fun. Next is the beach volleyball. This type of volleyball was invented in 1930 and along the years it became more popular. It is played by six players both sides in the beaches with sand. The next topic is all about playing positions in volleyball. First is the outside hitter. They are the one who carries along with the libero for serve receive coming from the opponent's side. They can play both front and back row, and they must have an all-rounder skills. And they are also called wing spiker. Second is the right side hitter. This player has similar responsibility to the outside hitter. They are responsible to carrying pass, attack, block, serve, and defense. They are placed at the right side of the front and back row. They are also called the wing spiker. Third is the opposite hitter. These players are one of the important person in the team because they score mostly of the time. Their responsibility is to solid block the ball that will come to their side. They must have great blocking skills because they will play against with the other team same as with his or her position. The fourth one is the setter. They are the one who will set the game interesting and exciting because no one will predict what is their next step. Their responsibility is running to the offense team to build an offensive attack that can gain their team score. They must have great blocking skills since they can play both front and back row. Next is the middle blocker. This player has the responsibility to block the opponent's attack to confuse their team. They must have great blocking skills and coordination with the teammates. The middle blocker in the back row can be replaced by a libero once he or she failed to serve his or her only chance. And last is the libero. This player cannot serve in the game and he or she plays at the back row of the court. Their t-shirts have different color from the other players, and they are mostly who can replace other players, especially the middle blocker. They must have great defense, serve, receive skills. The next topic is about the types of serve in volleyball. First is the underhand serve. One of your foot step forward if you are right-handed, left foot forward, and hold the ball where your weak foot is located, and hold the ball in front of you just in the middle of your hips and waist, then slightly bend your knees. If you are ready, hit the ball with either open palm or closed fist underneath with your dominant hand. This kind of serve is mostly perfect for beginners. Second is the overhand serve. This position is somehow similar to the underhand, but when you serve the ball, toss it right above your head, then hit the ball with strength. Your weight must go through your front foot for better serve. This type of serve is a little bit more difficult because you need to hit perfectly and aimingly the ball while it is in the air. You must follow the direction to execute a perfect serve to surprise the opponent. Next is the floater. It is a kind of jump serve, but the tricky part is the ball must not spin when you serve. This type of serve is very hard to execute if you don't have enough practice. And toss the ball right above your head and then hit it slightly jumping. It is an unpredictable serve. Last is the jump serve. When you serve, it must be 2 to 3 meters away from the inside. This type of serve is like the overhand but you must jump while you were about to hit the ball. You will toss the ball just right above your head and take 2 steps before jumping, then hit the ball aiming over the net perfectly. Your elbow must bend back and in swinging motion to hit the ball. The next topic is about the skills in volleyball. First is the forearm passing or bumping. It is the most basic skill you must learn in volleyball, especially when you are a beginner. The player will pass the ball to their teammates using forearms. Second is the volleying. It is a skill that your fingers, especially the middle, index, and your thumbs, are important. It is an overhead pass using your fingers. This is what a setter do in a game, and you must pass the ball to your team, especially to the hitter, to hit over the net. Third is the setting. This is the setter role because when you volley the ball, it must be passed to your team members for them to be able to ready the attack. It is the specialized type of volleying. Both the setter and hitter must have good communication to execute a good pass. Fourth is the attacking. There are some ways to attack your opponents. First is the spiking. This type of attack is the player will hit the ball with one arm, hand swinging motion, but with full power to be able for your opponent cannot receive and gain your team a score. Second is the tip. The player will just slightly poke the ball or tap the ball over the net without having too much time carrying it. Third is the roll shot. The player will attack the opponents by rolling your dominant hand overhead or underneath to make a good attack because it will confuse other where will the ball will land. The fifth one is the diving. It is sometimes called pancake wherein the player must prevent the ball from hitting the floor by catching it with your hands flatly lying on the floor. This type of skill needs more practice because in order to execute it, you must know beforehand what to land first. It is the crashing on the floor technique wherein you will slide on the floor with your dominant hand, touch the floor to prevent the ball from contacting. Your hand must lay flat and always look forward to know what to do next. Six is the blocking. It is a defensive skill wherein the player of the team will block the ball from coming into the net and get a score by tapping it back to the opponent's court side. Last is the serving. This type of skill is also one of the important techniques in playing volleyball because when the player serves the ball over the net and your serve is have pure power, then the opponents will panic and your team will get a score. The last topic is about the basic rules in volleyball. First is each team consists of 6 players and 6 substitutes. Player can be substituted at any time, but if they are to return, can only be swapped for the player that replaced them. Second is that 3 players are in the front row and the other 3 players are in the back row. Third is each team can hit the ball up to 3 times before the ball must be returned. The defensive team can then try and block or return the ball again, hitting it a maximum of 3 times. Next is the same player cannot hit the ball twice in a row. And the games are played up to 25 points and must be won by 2 clear points. A ball hitting a boundary line is in, and a ball is out if it hits an antenna, the floor completely outside the court, any of the net or cables outside the antenna, the referee's stand or pole, the ceiling above a non-playable area. It is legal to contact the ball with any part of a player's body as long as the ball rebounds immediately. If 2 or more players contact the ball at the same time, it is considered one play and either player involved may make the next contact. A player cannot block or attack a serve from on or inside the 10-feet line. After the serve, front-line players may switch positions at the net. At higher competition, the officiating crew may be made up of 2 referees, line judges, scorer, and an assistant scorer. Violations will be called for the following: stepping over the baseline when serving the ball, ball hits the net and fails to get over the net. If the balls if the ball hits the net and still goes over the net, then it is perfectly legal. Players are not allowed to carry, palm, or run with the ball. These are all the references for my report. And that's all. Thank you for listening.